And we're back. All right, so we've been doing some reviews, and I think right now everyone who's been reading it right now agrees that Invincible Iron Man, I know, is my favorite Marvel book right now.
It's one of the top 3 best books, period, right now, as far as superhero books go.
The book itself is just very well written. The artwork is top notch. You know, I can't appreciate what I have it while I have it, but I keep waiting for the shoe to drop.
I know, right?
You know?
I know.
I keep waiting for, something to happen.
Since issue 1, it's just been a solid book.
A solid book.
And, and then this whole, again, Matt Fraction using Dark Reign to take it into a completely different direction, and it's totally working.
Right. He writes the characters really well. This book here had a lot of laugh out loud moments for me, and to me, a jaw dropping moment too that you said you saw coming. But
I saw it coming.
For the life of me, I mean, if you haven't read it yet, stop here. Spoiler alert. Okay. For those of you who did, Tony Stark and Maria Hill getting it on with all the armor in the background.
Yeah, I saw that coming a couple of issues ago.
I did not. For the life of me, I never saw that coming. I'm wondering if that was a Matt Fraction thing or a Bendis thing. Because when Bendis would write Hill and Stark together, I mean, she loathed him. She would loathe him. And I know the whole... the Sam and Diane type, friction between two characters eventually leads to sexual tension, which leads to,
Well, you know how you know that Brian Bendis didn't write this? Because she doesn't get shot in the head.
Ah, yeah.
And killed.
Yeah. Because here, in here, she's actually a very strong woman who does stuff.
See, again, this is what Matt Fraction brings to the table on this book. Maria Hill, I always thought was a very interesting character. But whenever Bendis wrote her, he made her sound like a fucking, just a nagging, and it's like, that's not how you should be writing this character. She's second in charge of S.H.I.E.L.D. Yeah, she needs to be a badass to get things done.
Right.
But you don't need to make her be a bitch.
Right.
And you don't need to make her hate her just because of... And Matt Fraction has taken the strong feminist appeal of Maria Hill and actually putting words in her mouth that she would say, and actions like this whole intimate thing with Tony Stark, which makes complete sense in the context of what's going on. And that just shows right there who the better writer is. I mean, he's only had Maria Hill in this book for 3 issues, and she's already a much stronger and better character than she ever was with Brian Michael Bendis.
No, I agree completely with you. I never cared for Maria Hill. I always thought, you have to have that foil up for her, up for Tony Stark. That kind of that hard ass that always calls him on things. I got that. But there was never any explanation as to what her motivations were, what her background was like, why she did what she did. In one issue, the first Dark Reign issue, where Maria Hill is leaving the S.H.I.E.L.D. offices, in 3 pages, Matt Fraction turns her into a completely sympathetic character. You finally understood her at that point. You're like, oh, there you go.
It's like, where was this for 3 years?
Yeah.
Since this character's been around.
Yeah. Why the fuck was she doing what she did? Why was she, what was in her head? What was going on? That's what comic books are supposed to be able to do. Get us inside characters' heads. You're right. At no point did Bendis ever do that with Maria Hill. No. And Maria Hill became a infinitely more sympathetic character here. To the point where now I can actually buy this hookup between Tony Stark. I mean, if Bendis had written this, I wouldn't have bought it for anything. I would have said, no way. You're just forcing it. Fraction sets it up. Bam. It works beautifully. It works beautifully. So you're right. That just shows that the guy, I think he just understands people better. He understands people. He understands what people go through, their emotions, their feelings. Whereas Bendis, he knows plot and dialogue. And
then he reuses that same plot and the same dialogue over and over and over again. Just recycles his bullshit year after year after year.
Did you notice that, speaking of, and Bendis really looks up to Aaron Sorkin, of West Wing and Sports Night. Sorkin is working on a screenplay about another trial based on the Guantanamo Bay stuff. And Sorkin did friggin' A Few Good Men, which was about military in Cuba and so on and so forth.
That's true.
Looks like everybody's kind of recycling things right now. Yeah. But beyond that, I mean, again, not to get off point, but Matt Fraction is just showing that he's and he's only doing 2 books for Marvel right now.
Right. Uncanny X-Men.
And Iron Man.
All right.
And I'm wondering if that's because if he knows that that's all he can handle and give you a quality product, or or if that's all he really he has a passion for. This is what he feels for, these characters. Because quite frankly, I've always thought that anyone who writes, if you write Iron Man, back in the day, if you wrote Iron Man, you really should also be involved in writing Avengers and Captain America, because those 3 titles were so closely related to each other. Now you've got Invincible Iron Man here, and I don't even know what the hell happened with Iron Man. The other
turned into War Machine.
So the other Iron Man title's done.
Done. Yeah.
It is a War Machine title.
War Machine, yeah.
Okay, well then fine, then good, because there was such a disconnect between the two.
Plus this when their 2 Iron Man books are coming out simultaneously, this book just put the other one to shame.
Yeah, it just blows it away.
Yeah.
Which is
and to get back into character actions and I mean Pepper Potts, just the stuff that he writes in here is just great. And again, something that he was completely setting up that I didn't think he would do is put spoiler, but we already spoiled stuff before, so he did that warning. Puts Pepper Potts in the Iron Man armor.
Which
and again,
makes complete
if this
sense.
was Bendis, I would have been like, bullshit.
Right,
like,
right.
But because that's exactly what I thought.
Right.
I'm reading this, and she's in the armor, and I'm like, no way, they're gonna do that. And I thought to myself, that was the first thing. If Bendis wrote the story, I would be fucking tearing into it right now. But it works, Matt.
Because he pulls it off.
Yes,
he pulls it off. He makes it work within the context of the story. Whereas Bendis just, and again, and I keep saying this, I am a fan, but his strength does not lie in characters. It does not lie in characters at all.
And if he did this, if Bendis did this, it would have been a gimmick, a complete gimmick, and
probably,
and in 3 issues, it would just be abandoned.
Right. So, needless to say, Invincible Iron Man just goes, just proves that it is a superior book. And I'm waiting for the shoe to drop. I mean, I'm thinking it's probably going to be the cover price. Matt Fraction's going to get kicked off the book. That
would be a mistake.
I don't know.
The other thing, did you notice though? No ads.
You know what? I did not notice that. But you're right.
I think that it really helped the flow of the story too.
Yes.
Just no ads at all. Yeah, I think all the ad space is taken up by this War of the Kings stuff in the back. It's just like a sample of the first issue. But yeah, there's no ads in here. It just helped the story move, and it was actually really nice that there were no ads in here.
Right, and on top of that, no ads, and the cover price didn't go up.
Yeah,
and I think maybe editorial starting to hear some of the grumblings from the readership.
Maybe
you got to stop dicking people around. All right, folks, we're going to close the book on that, and when we come back, we'll talk about, I don't know, maybe DC, if it warrants it. I don't know.
What have they done for me lately?
Really? We'll see you then.